So before you do anything else, put your stitches and your needle back to your normal stitch, the stitch that you usually work with. You need to have it in an ordinary stitch, otherwise this won't hold, okay? Put your thread behind your machine there and get that all ready to go. I'm just going to grab my pin cushion and put that in front so I can take my pins out as I go along. We're coming with the biggest one here, and I'm going to start on that French seam so I know what I'm doing. Just there, I'm going to pop my foot on, and I'm going to do this on a 3/8 of an inch, which is just the edge of my foot there. This is a 3/8 of an inch foot, which I've got here, okay? We're just going to come around, all the way around. We want to make sure, if you find that you've got a bit which isn't sitting right on so that they're both sat on the edge, just move it, okay? So we're going to go on, and we'll do a back stitch, and I'm going to come all the way around. And every so often just check that this is laying nice and flat underneath. So as soon as I started sewing that, the card was full. So let's come on and carry on doing this. So just stitching this on an ordinary stitch all the way around. Keep checking underneath that you've not got any tucks. And this is just a light gather. We've just literally gathered the top one to half, to double the size of the bottom one of the necklace. No, we just literally gathered the bottom one to double the size of the top one each time, so just to make it nice and even. If you'd want to make it more of a frilly, fluffy one, you can add a little bit extra onto each layer, so you can, instead of saying doing 26, you can have 30 or something like that, or you know, or just give yourself a little bit extra there. I don't know why that's not sitting on there. Let's just get it sitting on those stripes. Sorry, I think I moved my needle off a bit further. It is a very forgiving pattern as well if you do what I've just done, and not keep it right on that line. You're probably not going to notice it. You can go back and sort it out, obviously. So I'm going to try and make a shorter video of this, but this is the sew along. So if you want to, so that you can do all of it with me, but I will do a much shorter one so that you can just go along and watch that and just do your own thing. But I try and do a sew along because I think it's really nice for beginners to work alongside somebody, and it also gives me a chance to sort of, it feels like you've got somebody else in the room when you're talking to the camera, so it's just quite nice. Just check you're not gathered up underneath. There we go. It's coming around now. Always make sure you've gone back to your normal stitch when you're on your machine. If you are doing, if you've done a gathering stitch or something like that, you have to sort of always be on that normal stitch, because another stitch won't, the other stitches won't hold. The tacking stitch will just pull out. It's not strong enough to hold the thing in place. whilst we're here now, you're just going to come across and we're going to do a zigzag. So I'm going to change my stitch to the one which looks like a bit of like a lightning bolt. I'm going to come across and we're just going to move my fabric to the outside where my needle will go, and then I'm going to come all the way around. I'm just going to do that there because that will make it easier doing it there, because you won't have to sort of move the whole thing around too much. So I'll do that whilst we're on it. We must remember when we finish doing this that we will need to... Sorry, a piece of thread's got caught in there, that's really annoying me. You must remember to turn this back to your ordinary stitch before you do the next one. Just run all the way around with that zigzag stitch. If you've got a serger, you can put this through the serger at this point. We'll just neaten this up a bit. There you go. Okay, so that's that one with the zigzag on it. Come in, cut your threads. Now you will have long threads on this because you have all your threads from your tacking, but don't worry too much about them because you're going to come in and we're going to sort that out at the end, alright? So don't worry too much about those long threads. So we're going to come in here on your next row down, put it down so it's on that very edge there, and then we're going to come in again, we're going to change our stitch to a straight stitch, back to your ordinary stitch, and we're just going to come in and do a straight stitch. Do a back stitch, and then around you go. Okay, and I'm just going to take that one pin out. That's a silk pin, I can see, and it's slipped down underneath, and I want to keep those up there at the same level. Okay, take the next one out. Now you can, with those silk pins, you can stitch right across the top of them. They are so fine you can actually go across the top. So if you're thinking of investing in some pins, you might prefer to do that, and then you won't have to stop all the time and to take the pins out. I don't like taking, don't like going across the pins, it scares me. I've had needles break on me and it's shot up once and hit me in the face. It's just put me off going over the top of the pins. I prefer to take them out, but it is your choice. If you use the very fine silk pins, you can just stitch right across the top of them and they don't break. The needles. The needles are quite expensive, so you know you have to make your choice, and you know you have to change them regularly. And it's really annoying if you go on and you put a brand new needle in and it just breaks straight away on a pin. So it's up to you on your choice on what you do about that. I think I paid about £5 for the silk pins, but they are very fine. And we will be using those coming up because I have to make two flower girl dresses. And they're going to be made out of chiffon and lace. So hopefully you'll come and join me for that. They would work quite well as confirmation dresses as well. Or you could use them just for a party dress, christening gown, something like that, for a slightly older child, not like the long christening gowns. It's going to be very pretty, they are. I've sort of got those coming up soon. I'll probably be doing those in June. So there will be one outfit in between this one and the next one. And that one. This is a really pretty fabric. So once we finish putting these stitches in, you will need to go over and take out that bottom row of tapping stitches, gathering stitches. Just that one. You won't need to take the other pieces out. Get to the top of my finger. I'm thinking, what is that there? You won't have to take that top one out, the top row out, unless you want to. You're not going to see that at all. That's going to be in the piece. Oh, look, I did stitch across that pin there. Look. Make sure you don't get a tuck. Did you see that piece of fabric going up? If I stitch over that, I will get a tuck in my skirt and I'll have to come back and undo it. Okay. So you don't want you don't want that piece of fabric there to come up underneath like that, and that's what that did back there, and you don't want that actually happening. You will get a tuck then. It just looks peculiar on the front of your skirt. Now this would make a really good skirt for the Mirabelle skirt from Disney. I've made this skirt before and I've done all the embroidery and everything on it to do the Mirabelle skirt. But I quite like just the patterns on this one. That's really nice. This is just very plain, but what I'm thinking of doing is maybe adding some lace to the bottom. Or something, but I'm not sure. But I will do this just as the skirt, so you can just have a skirt. These skirts are fantastic for summer, like sort of spring and summer. You can have an underskirt underneath them if you want. So make it 2 layers, just to make it a little bit thicker if you want it sort of a springtime more. And do another skirt, but just have a plain skirt with 1 ruffle on the bottom, and you can stitch it on when you're stitching on your waistband, and stitch it onto the dress, just to the skirt, just the same as you would when you stitch on your waistband. So instead of putting 1 piece on, you can put 2 pieces on it, and you just measure it just a tiny bit, about 1 inch shorter than what you would have for your main skirt. So once you've got your main skirt sort of all put together, these pieces, and then just measure what the length of that is, and then make your underskirt 1 inch shorter, and that will give you like a sort of a slightly warmer skirt if you want to have it for more of a spring type thing. There we go. Around the last couple of bits. That one's going that way, isn't it? Yeah. When you get to your French seam, just push it in the direction it is on the bottom, okay? And then come along and attach that, and that's all of those pieces done. Alright, so there we go. Right, okay. So I'm going to go back now to the table. So this is your little skirt, it looks really pretty. I'm going to go back to the table now, and we are going to put on our waistband. So I've just prepared my piece of interface, and I've just literally ironed it on to the piece of fabric, and then I folded my fabric in half, just like that, and the interface just goes on that front bit. You don't have to put it on the rest of it. Okay, so we're just doing that, and then I'm just going to come along here. I just gave myself a little bit of extra fabric there to play with. Just going to come along and cut that edge off. We never use those edges. If you use those edges, what would happen is, didn't get a very straight edge, did I? They twist and they curl under in a different way. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come along and we're going to take these 2 ends. We don't need a French seam on this. This is just going to be an ordinary seam running across there. Grab some pins. Oh, right beside me. Just grab some pins here and run them in. There we go, 1, 2, like that, and we're just going to stitch straight across. So straight across, okay, there, back stitch on either end. So we're just going to come in on our 3/8 of an inch all the way down. Back and all the way along. the back stitch. Okay, lift that one. Okay, so here we have our front of our skirt. This will be our front. Okay, I think I'll go that way. For it to have the front, all the seams on the on my left. Okay, so I've got my front like that. No, it has to be that way. It has to be on the right because I've put the interface and I want that interfacing to be on the front. You can put 2 layers, a whole layer of interfacing if you want, and have a piece that big. You don't need to, it's just I prefer to do it like that. Okay, so that is where my interfacing ends there. Okay, so I am now going to come in and do 2 rows of gathering stitches right across here. But what I want to do, where that interfacing is here, okay, that's the end of it, I want to leave 1 inch, so I've got enough room to get my elastic in. Okay, and then I'm going to come along here and I'm going to come to where my other piece of interfacing is, and that is right by there. So I'm going to put a pin just there to remind me to stop when I get to it. Okay, so I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to change my stitch to my gathering stitch, so which is just my biggest stitch on my machine. Okay, and then I've got my needle and I'm going to have my needle as far over this side as I can get it. All right, so just going to come in and go all the way around. Don't put a back stitch in when you're doing a gathering stitch, okay? I'm just running along to that pin. I'll stop there. Pull it out and give myself a nice long thread. Okay, and do exactly the same again. Go to where I actually started, make sure those ends are out of the way, which they are. And then I'm going to come in, I'm going to place it right down on that edge again. Make sure that these 2 come in nice and far back like that. I'm just going to place it right on that very edge there where we were before, and I'm going to change my needle position over to there. Okay, and I've still got it on my longest stitch. Okay, and try and keep it so that you've got that on the edge of the foot, and what you just want to avoid is going down over that line, because it won't gather if you sewed over the top of it. So you're basically looking here at this edge. Just over that pin, and then I'll just take that one out and I'm going to cut a nice long end again. There we go. So now we're going to take our skirt and we're going to gather this piece to the same size as the back of our skirt. So we're going to pin it on first. So let's go to the table. So here you can see I filmed it all, and the camera, the card was full, so I've got my other waistband for my other skirt. So I've got my other waistband for my other skirt, and I'm just going to put this on the same way as we would do that. So I'm just going to turn it like that, and I'm going to pin this so that you've got your stripe piece is going in place. So you've got that all the way around, just going into where that would be, and that's where that ends. It's just the same place as that one. So you've got that, and we're going to just pin this all the way along. Okay. So you would just do this without that other skirt, that other piece being in there. Obviously, like that. I wanted to get this out for tomorrow. I'm so behind with the videos because when I had COVID, as you know, I had to take a couple of weeks off, so I'm so behind now, and I want to get this out tomorrow if I can. So I've just got to do this bit of the skirt. Right, so that's in. That's your front piece there. Then you're going to take this piece where your gathering is, and you're going to grab hold of both pieces of thread, here and here, like that. And then you're just going to come in and you're going to gather this all the way along. Okay, so keep going like that until you've got it all gathered up so it's the same size as this piece of skirt. So that's your bit where you're going to have your hole. We're not going to sew over that bit where the hole is. We're going to just sew over this piece on the back. Okay, so that's going to go along there, like that, coming along. So you've only got to gather this little short piece here. So let's grab this piece. Okay, and pull that one in as well. Remember, you're leaving that 1 inch there for the elastic to go in. Okay, and then you're going to pin the whole of this onto here. Okay, so it's all on and it's the same size. All right, so we're going to gather it right in, just like that all the way along. There you go. Alright, so that'll be just like that. So I'll pin this so you can see what you've got to do. Obviously you won't have your elastic in yet. You're going to leave that hole where the elastic's going in, and as you can see that's where the elastic will be, and you'll pin this so you get that absolutely straight. But what I would do here, let's just get this pin in, this first one. Oh, it'll be easy because you won't have your elastic in there sticking out. Get that pin in there, right. Okay, so here, where I'm going to leave my hole, I'm going to put a cross of pins. You can just put the pin going in the other way, or you can just do some sort of cross or an X or whatever, just to remind you not to stitch that piece, okay? And then you can come in and do it all the way along and spread your gathers so you've got an even gather all the way across that back. Alright, and then pin it all the way. Just going to put a few in so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. Making sure that that skirt piece on that side stays down. And I think once I've got this bit done and all the pinning is done, everything is fine on the camera then. So I can carry on with that. So now all you need to do now is start here before that. So you're going to put a cross there to remind you to stop, okay? So you've got your cross. You're going to start on this pin here. You're going to come all the way round, stitch all the way round, just an ordinary stitch, do a back stitch there, come in, start there, do a back stitch, go all the way round like that, ordinary stitch, and stop when you get to the end of that interfacing here, okay? And then you can take these pins out and you can stitch, do a back stitch to finish on that interface, and take these pins out, stitch and then move along, move your machine over and stitch from there and stitch here and go all the way, do a back stitch and go all the way around your gathering. Now with your gathering you're going to have to be careful. You need to make sure that this piece of the skirt is going down and this piece of the waistband is down. You don't want any of that riding up, so I would suggest putting it on your machine like that so that you can see this piece, alright? And then go straight across the top here, just an ordinary stitch all the way across, keeping this pole nice and flat that side. Keep checking that there's nothing tucked up inside on that side, and then just come around here like that, and you'll finish where your hole is here, okay, back here. You don't want to go all the way to the interface, and you're going to stop when you get to that crossed pins, okay, and then you're going to do a back stitch there, okay. Hopefully that's okay. Go ahead and do that, and then I will show you, I will put the next bit of video on to that so you can see it. So I'm just going to come in where I've got that cross of pins, and I'm just going to go just behind that, and again we're going to do it on that 3/8 of an inch, okay. Just going to take that one out. Just going to come along slowly, just on our normal stitch. You want to make sure that your ruffle side is on the top, okay, if you can. This one's going to be all 3 rows of ruffled, so. See here, this one's gone right up. I don't really want that. To pull that down a little bit. That's better. Okay, so we've got that sitting nice and neat. I'm going to take that pin out because that's helping it stick up. I'm just going to pull that down so that is actually sitting nicely. And then pull those up a little bit on this side. You might find that you might want to take your box off, because you might find it goes through the sewing machine easier. Okay. See, it's just that ruffle's just caught up there. So I'm just going to push that back under, making sure that's, I'll take that pin out, that's going a little bit over the top as well. Let's just put that one under. So this is a much easier little skirt than the one we did before. In the dress. This is going to be a very simple dress skirt. You probably make this up in about an hour. The thing which takes the time is the pinning of it more than anything. The other bits don't take hardly any time at all. So we're just coming on now to where that piece is, and I want to leave this bit open here. So I'm just going to do a back stitch here, and then come along. Lift my needle, and I'm going to move along, if I can, just pull that along a bit, to here, so that I'm just on this piece here where we're starting. Oh, I've got a pin stuck in there. That's it. Right, so just going to come along to here where the interfacing is starting, and I'm going to do a back stitch, and then another back stitch. Okay, and I'm going to come all the way across that front piece. There we go. I don't think I did a back stitch when I started, so I will put a back stitch in a second. And go over there. Just woke up, so it's early in the morning. I just woke up, had a shower, and then came in. And yesterday when I was doing it, it was really annoying. I got there, and then the battery ran out just before I went to put this last little bit in. So I'm just going to come off there, and then I'm going to do a back stitch. And I'm going to come over again. There we go. And I'm going to lift this pin out now, and we've definitely got our hole in there. So I'm going to come here, I'm just going to put another back stitch in, because I don't think I did it. Getting a bit caught up with all these loose ends. That's it, get them out of the way. Right, then move that along a bit. Sorry, I've got a loose end stuck in there. That's it, it wouldn't come out. I'm just going to move that along to where I started stitching. There, and put that down, and I'm just going to do a back stitch. Okay, so take that there, and then we're just going to move it along a little bit so that that's sort of sitting on the edge of there. We're going to change it to our zigzag stitch. I don't know if you can see that zigzag stitch there. Changed it to that one. Okay. And I'm just going to come along and I'm going to zigzag all the way around, but I'm not going to go over those two pieces where the we've left the hole. I'll do a back stitch with that, just because I don't want it to unravel. I've got some threads there. Where that hole is here, there. Okay, so I'm just going to come in a little bit, stop, go back. That'll just stop the threads from unravelling. Lift, move forward onto the piece where we started stitching again, and then we're going to run this all the way around. So I'll stop there. Okay, I'm going to just do a back stitch. Okay, I'm going to lift that up, and then I'm going to take that off, and then we're going to go back to the table again.